This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 252 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
All right, Nicole, I love this first topic because it's a good time of year
And
for
you're
it.
in it. I mean, you're in it. Let's be real. You're in it.
I'm in the article.
You are
I
in
am
the
quoted
article.
in it, but
Yeah.
amongst other people, who else is quoted in it? Josh
Dan
Altman's quoted.
O'Neill's in there.
Danny
All
Deals
your
is quoted.
buddies. All your buddies. It's like,
Oh, but Josh Altman's not a buddy of mine. If he wants to become buddies,
yeah,
hit me up. I think he's a Northeast guy originally. There's a whole bunch of people quoted in this. All
a whole
right,
bunch
this
of
is
buddies.
an Inman article, but it's a BAM creator that wrote the article. Troy Palmquist wrote the article. Troy's been pumping out articles on BAM, so make sure you check out those. He had the drinking debate article, which went all over the internet. But this one's on Inman. We'll link it up below. Team structures are a train wreck. Here's why it's ruining rankings.
I mean, it's pretty aggressive. It's like an aggressive headline for sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the team structures are a train wreck. Definitely an
Total
aggressive
train wreck.
headline. Are some of the biggest teams in the industry really brokerages or teamerages?
I've never heard that until I read this article. I'll be honest.
Oh, no. Teamerage. That's like a trending word the last couple of years. Teamerage.
Clearly, I haven't, but I'm not trendy, so I'm always the last to know.
Well, you know now. And how does
I
that
do.
affect the way they're ranked? Before 2023, rankings come out, Troy argues. Let's get this figured out. So I like that you said that, Nicole. You didn't know teamerage. In the comments, if you never heard teamerage, if you're learning about it now for the first time, let us know in the comments. My understanding of the definition teamerage, which is new, it is a new evolving word in real estate, is an independent brokerage that fully operates as a team. So the entire brokerage, which is independent of another brokerage brand, operates as a team. That's the definition that I use. If there's another definition out there, because they don't define, Troy doesn't define teamerage in here.
Right.
This is an open discussion for the industry. He's looking for us to debate this out a little bit and figure out what the best formula is so that we can start to get these rankings right. There's been for sure a lot of conversation around teams the last 10 or 15 years.
For sure. Well, and I think it's a healthy way to do it instead of people being like, again, because he references real trends in here and everyone kind of being like, well, that's bullshit because they have like 90 million people and I only have 4. So I do think that it's a healthy way to at least start having a conversation so that people just stop talking shit behind each other's backs, really.
We're going to get into real trends. Real trends, for all the issues with real trends, it is one of the more
fair
or followed or looked at reports in the industry. There's definitely some issues. We're going to get into real trends. There's a whole bunch of other rankings. Like what's the one where they email you and they're like, send me $300 and you can be agent top
more
agent.
than one of those.
What's the top agent magazine?
There's a top agent magazine. The amount of times that people
not even a real magazine.
It's not. So it's oh my gosh, you remember when you were a kid and I think it was like Disney World and you could pick which magazine cover you wanted to be on.
It
was like a race car. You could be like a race car driver with like your mom or like your dad. That's exactly what that is. And the same thing with homes. Like I feel like Home Snap's sort of the same way. They throw some stuff at you, but like if you pay them, then you get more awards. I mean, it's funny though, because I do think that the public is onto us too. Because the amount of times I get texts from past clients asking like, how much do you think this agent paid for this award? Like,
yeah, they're onto it.
They're totally onto it. But anyway,
I mean, the top agent magazine thing is just silly. So there's
it's a whole article written about you, and I mean, that's a pretty decent, I think, investment. I mean, a couple $1,000s, I believe, to get that.
There's
article.
Ones that like that are a complete joke, and then there's ones that are real trends that are more reputable within the industry, but also have issues.
Well, but they're at least a little bit more universal because, like, we could be like President's Elite, and then another brokerage could be Diamond, and you have no idea what.
Well, those are brokerage awards you're talking about now.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's totally different. I mean, real trends within the industry, you do pay for those too. So you're paying for those. And listen, I am quoted in the article. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I say in here is if there's not clear rules, if these Real Trends or whoever, don't start defining clear rules around these rankings that everybody can understand in its entirety, and don't make exceptions. I've got an example of a big exception that Real Trends made in the past that we know about for our particular state. If they don't make exceptions to the rules, they have rules and they follow them clearly, then people will respect it more. But if they don't, if they make exceptions,
Right.
then these real estate ranking reports are going to come off as a money grab. Nicole, you said it. The public is onto us, agents.
They're onto us.
They know these awards are fake, phony, and they look foolish when you're promoting them on your social, when your clients know that you paid for it and that you really didn't sell the most homes in your market, right? It's why I like to just take the old MLS sheet out. This is an old school, this is what 30-year vets do. They take that MLS sheet out and they say,
oh yeah,
I've sold the most homes in this market.
And what's really great too is if you want to get real dirty, you print it out long enough and then you say, have you interviewed with anybody else? Where are they on the list? And they just keep going down and down and down. And I mean, it can get a little dramatic depending on, I mean, that's the best way to do it. Show the numbers.
Okay. So we went on a tangent. Let's back up for a second.
Yes.
Okay.
Total train wreck.
Troy puts the definition of a team into his article. This is according to NAR. Now, there are states that have adopted this definition. There are states that have changed the definition and made it, more relevant to their market, to their state, to their rules, that have tweaked this definition. But this is NAR's definition. And then states now have their own definition. It's like the federal government and then your local state government. Okay. All right. So according to NAR, a team is comprised of 2 or more real estate salespeople who pool resources on marketing, administrative staff, and may offer specialists for various aspects of the real estate business. In some cases, a team can appear to operate as a separate brokerage firm to consumers. There are states that have said, whoa, we don't like that.
We don't like that.
That there is confusion for the consumers. And those states have gone and made rules about what the name of the team is. And then you got to put that name in all of your marketing. You have to put that name into your MLS. Okay. So the name, there's a fee involved in some states where you have to pay a fee to be a team, to register with the state as a team. Okay. And there's all these different things that you have to adhere to. And a lot of it does focus in around the marketing, because what the states are concerned about is the consumer and what the consumer's perception is, and making sure that fits into their brokerage rules, and that you're not being confused as a brokerage when you're a team within a brokerage. Okay. Then he talks about the definition of a brokerage, which was less clear, according to NAR. The most generic definition that Troy found was the business or establishment of a broker. Okay. Now, what's happening though, and where people are, having this debate within the industry, and where people are like, this just isn't fair with the rankings, is that there are these teamrages, which are an independent brokerage, but the whole brokerage operates as a team, and they're being classified into the team category, or you're seeing, Nicole, a really big team go up in certain rankings against a smaller team. And it's like, well, this is like an NFL team going against, a varsity high school football team. It's not a level playing field. But what I'll say though, Nicole, about Real Trends is they have defined, categories. Okay. Right. So, and Real Trends, it's talked about in this article, they're already pumping the countdown for the 2023 submission portal. And, you can start submitting as early as January. That the close date is April. They're going to be emailing every agent, team, brokerage to pay their money and get into their rankings. But they've done a good job about, figuring out these categories.
Fair. Like I said before, a little fair.
And defining them, but do they need tweaks? Okay. So here are the categories that they had as of last year. I don't know if they're going to be different this year. All right. So individual agents by volume, and individual agents pretty clear
Right.
to figure out. Now there's been some people that don't like the individual agent. Hey, this person has 17 assistants.
Right.
Okay, like I
Yeah.
know an individual agent in South Florida who ranks on this as an individual agent, and this particular agent has like 9 assistants and 4 buyer agents. So is that a team? But
Right.
they rank as an individual agent. So a lot of these individual agents at the top might actually should be considered small teams, but they're calling themselves an individual agent. They're branding themselves as an individual agent, and they're submitting to Real Trends as that. Okay, small teams, 2 to 5 licensed agents. Okay, so that's for transactions or volume. That's a Real Trends definition. A medium team would be 6 to 10 agents. Okay, so medium team 6 to 10. Large team 11 to 20 licensed agents. So this is licensed agents. So you could be a small team with 5 licensed agents and then have 15 people on staff.
Right.
So I don't know. That's where some of this gray area comes in. And then you've got what they call mega teams,
Yep.
which is 21 licensed agents or more. Okay. Now, what they don't have in here is a category for teamrages.
Right.
If we go into the 1,000 for Real Trends and we go mega teams, I always like transaction sides, Nicole. So let's just use that. Let's go
Okay.
last year's
Yep.
mega team transaction. The first mega team that comes up to the top is Mark Spain Real Estate at 10,374 transactions. The company, okay, so the team name is Mark Spain Real Estate. The company name, Nicole, is Mark Spain Real Estate.
Right.
This to me is the classic definition of
a
teamrage.
Right.
I don't know Mark. I know that he is a G. He is a top G in real
For
estate.
sure, dude. He's bringing in the money for sure.
He's
Look at all
got
those transactions.
in the southeast corner of the state, he's got billboards everywhere. The dude offers the guaranteed rate. He's done a great job scaling multiple states. That being said, I don't believe a team, number one, I don't believe a team can be multiple states. I believe that's a different category. That's a different definition. Number two, I think there should be a separate category for a teamrage. If you're a brokerage, and I don't know Mark's brokerage, Mark Spain Real Estate. I don't know if everybody works under the team model or if he has a separate category where, okay, you can be under the brokerage over here or you can be on the team over here. If that's the case, then to me, Mark Spain Real Estate is just an independent brokerage.
Right.
And you have to have a team within the brokerage. Nicole, your thoughts on can a team be in different states? My answer would be no. That'd be 2 different teams. What's your answer on that?
It's interesting because I never really thought about it being anything worth debating until I read this article. Because in my mind, there's lots of teams that are multi-state.
Could be on the border, right?
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, I mean, even I mean, Connecticut's not that very big of a state, so to hit a Mass or a Rhode Island seems like it's the natural thing to do. So, I'll be honest, I haven't really put much thought into it until I started reading the article, and I was actually surprised to hear that you were sort of against the idea of it. So,
Yeah, multi-state teams make no sense because here's why. You brought up Connecticut. Well, Connecticut has a definition
yep,
around teams that is different from Massachusetts, that is different from Rhode Island.
right,
So how can you have a team in, let's say you can be licensed in all 3 of those states. Those are states that are reciprocal to each other in the
right,
licensing.
yep,
So you could be licensed in all 3 states. You could have a team. You could have agents that work both sides of the border, right?
right,
But to say that team, you can encompass all those deals into that one team would be false just off the premise that you're breaking your own state's rules within Connecticut.
right,
So that's just the definition of one state alone says you can't do that. So I would think that you would need to have Rhode Island team. You would need to have Massachusetts team. Now, Real Trends will say, so they've got the 1,000, which we just read off. I can read some more off of the 1,000 because there's some other examples in the top 5 for mega teams that they're just teamrages, which is why I think you got to have a teamrage category. We had a situation, Nicole, in America's Best, the ranking, the other section of of this Real Trends where they break down each state. Okay, who was
Right.
number one in this particular state?
Yep.
Okay, we came in number 2 one year in Connecticut because the
Right.
number 1 team dumped in a couple hundred
Pooled his
deals
numbers from another state.
from
Yes.
Massachusetts.
Mhm.
Well, how are you the number 1 team in Connecticut and you're
Right.
ranking 200 deals in Massachusetts? I said Real Trends. I said, well, what is this? Well, this is just, they were only claiming stake in one state. They did all these deals. So you're
Yeah.
letting 200 deals in Massachusetts elevate a team to the number 1
In
spot
Connecticut.
in Connecticut. Tell me
Right.
what sense that makes.
Right.
Please tell me
Mhm.
what sense that makes. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, like in what you were saying earlier, it takes away like the power of it then, because then the other teams are then sort of disputing the fact why they're number two or number one, taking away the legitimacy then of the entire award you know
A-
together.
And that's where people, they look at the solo agents that have 9 assistants and they say, Real Trends, this is a garbage list. They look at the teams that are actually a brokerage and they're categorized as a team and they say, Real
Right.
Trends, this is a crappy list.
Right.
So, I don't think anybody has a perfect list. There's RIS
No, because
Media
again,
that comes out with a
yeah,
list. There's
yeah,
other lists out there. There's not one that I think the industry would categorically say is the list. Is like the NFL, you want a golden jacket. You want to get to the Hall of Fame. That is like the end all be all for every football player. In real estate, there's not that. There's a bunch of people, a bunch of these Real Trends and others that are grabbing money.
mm-hmm.
You're submitting your numbers, they're validating it, and then they're making exceptions for people. And it becomes, to me, nothing but a money grab. And that's where they're losing the validity of these
Right.
lists.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it even boils down to even local market too, right? I mean, everyone I feel like daily is manipulating the
Yeah.
numbers to make themselves be number one. And you'll see next to most of those number ones, there's a friggin' asterisk that you then have to reference at the bottom of their article or their ad saying where they are number one. And it's probably within like a quarter of a county in half of a town, depending on how that number actually reads for them. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it's a pretty big train wreck.
Agents, teams, your market thinks you look silly when you're claiming this vague number 1 team, number 1 agent without a proper definition behind it. If
Right.
you're number 1 in your state, what does that mean? Is that total transactions? Is that most money sold? Or is that some phony award you bought off a Top Agent magazine? What does number 1 mean? Define it so that you can actually garner the respect that you're seeking when you put that out there. We can go down the Real Trends list more. There's a whole bunch of disparities in the comments. First of all, thumbs up if you think that all of these rankings are a little bit silly. In the comments, let us know what definitions you think should be put into these rankings. Should there be a team ridge? Should there be more clarity around independent brokerage? I mean, if you go to the independent brokerage, Nicole,
Mm-hmm.
they have EXP number 1 or Compass number 1 and EXP number 2. It might be vice versa. It's 1 and 2, EXP and Compass as independent broker. These are publicly traded companies. These are not independent brokerages. That is just silly. Real Trends. That is laughable, actually, that you actually would put that. Any Joe Schmo can figure out that these are publicly traded companies. On the team one, you have Chris Lindahl, number 5. Love what Chris has done, man. He's another top G, and his team name is Chris Lindahl. His company is Chris Lindahl Real Estate. He is a team ridge to me, though. So love what you've done. Just don't think you should be categorized as a mega team. There's a whole bunch of other ones we can go through, but I'd love your opinion in the comments. What do you guys think about this? I think Troy did a great job bringing the debate to us. Let's have
For
the
sure.
debate as an industry, and maybe Real Trends, maybe somebody else. Maybe there's another list that hasn't come out yet that can be the top G of these real estate lists and actually hold some weight as opposed to just being a money grab. To me, the list that means the most is the MLS in your state.
Hmm.
Where do you rank on that? Because that
Or
that
did
sucker doesn't lie.
no, did you read Leonard though at the bottom? Leonard Steinberg, maybe
Leonard
agents and
Skinner?
team. No, Leonard Steinberg at the comments. Maybe agents and team should focus less on being number one themselves and focus more on making their clients number
Yeah, that
one.
sounds good if you're number 37. I think if you're number one, I
Or if
think
you're
if you're number
Leonard.
one, Leonard, you should talk about it. And everybody else that isn't should talk about where they really are. Okay. Because I mean, I think if you've earned the ability to be number one in your MLS, use it. And then vice versa. If you're number 37 on the list, yeah, you can find me down here at 37. I'm getting the interview. But guess what? Look at how many listings number one's holding, and you're gonna get all my attention because you're gonna be listing number two on tap here for me. So there's a way to go into the living room and debate either side of it if you're not number one, but don't be faux. Don't you can eat faux, but don't be faux.
Wow, look at you.
Nicole, you
Look at
like
you.
faux. You
It is my favorite.
you gonna go have
Yes.
some faux today?
I feel like now I may. Yes. I'm definitely I'm on team pho. I'm not a ramen's fine if that's all that's being offered, but
Ramen is fine, but faux is fantastic.
it's fantastic. Hmm.
You got a good faux spot
We
in
do
New
have a
Haven,
good
Connecticut.
we do have a good spot.
Shout out to Metcha if you've ever been there.
There you go. Look at you.
All right, racket number 2.
Hmm.
This is a BAM article. We'll link this one up. Over 1 million searched for down payment assistance last year. Okay, so in December 2021, Nicole, Zillow launched a down payment assistance information on homes listed for sale on the Zillow app. So they put this feature in here where you could click and get information on a down payment assistance program. Okay.
Hmm.
They did this in partnership with Down Payment Resource. We've got this linked in the article. When you click that link, I would encourage every agent, go on the BAM article, find the link. It's in the
Hmm.
first paragraph, click
Yep.
it. It's
Down
Down
payment
Payment
resource.
Resource.
Hmm.
Okay. Then as if you were a consumer, start clicking around. Well, what do I qualify for?
Hmm.
Okay, so they're going to ask you, if you were a consumer, what are you looking to buy? Okay, so number one, location. There's going to be qualifications around down payments. Okay, so down payment assistance. So what are you looking to buy? Location, is this going to be in a specific county, city, neighborhood? Is this going to be a specific type of property? Single family, duplex, triplex, four family. Okay. Number two, tell us about your household. How many people? How many dependents do you currently own? What's your household income? Okay, so you put all that information in there. Number three, the consumer would put in, are you U.S. military? Are you a veteran? Are you active duty, reserve, National Guard? Are you a surviving spouse? Okay, so military. Okay, are you American Indian? And then the fourth category is, do you work in any of these professions? Okay, so there's specific categories for certain professions: education, law enforcement, firefighter, healthcare, right? And I believe in that. I believe we should have good down payment assistance programs for those four professions. We need those, as a good operating society. We need great education. We need law enforcement. We need to respect the law enforcement. We need to have firefighters, and we need to have healthcare, right? These are this water, air. These are things that we need. Okay, so those would all be all those categories that a buyer would put in there. Now, Nicole, in a changing economy like 2023, a million people looked at this on Zillow. They thought about it. They said, I'm going to seek this out. Zillow just shared the data with us. You think that number goes up or down in 2023?
I'm curious to see.
I would think that more people search this out in
Pot
23. No?
potentially, yeah, I mean, I I maybe, I don't know. It scares me. I feel like some of these things that they're offering is sort of what got us to where we were before. So
Well, no,
my
down payment assistance can be different than these sketchy loans.
well, but again,
Down
if you're
payment
going
assistance might
through
be something
them,
that your
some of the
state is offering.
yes. So yeah, again, depending on which one you're going. I mean, some of them are talking about a second mortgage. Some of them are talking about a first mortgage. They're talking about payments being deferred. They're talking about interest being deferred. I mean, there are
So there's a
tons of
lot of
them.
stuff out there. There's a
There
lot of
is
ways to skin the cat.
there is a lot of ways to skin the cat. I will it go up? Maybe yes. My hope is that again, sort of like you're saying as an agent, because there is information on here, and there's a block on here. It says for professionals, like figure it out, be direct them in the right spot so that um
Bingo. That's
yeah.
it.
So
I mean, that's you just nailed it. And this is the takeaway on the what's happening with down payment assistance, the surge in people searching this, your consumer searching this out. Zillow just shared with you a little bit of their secret sauce, a little bit about what's working for them to engage with home shoppers.
right,
I would do the copycat approach here. If I'm an agent, if I'm a team, if I've got a website, and Nicole, this is something we need to think about ASAP. I'm using what they're doing on our own website. Okay, so let's just go ahead and take the link and supply it and also put in another button. Our state might be different than what you're seeing here. Click to have a conversation.
yeah. Or it could be your call to action. I mean, if you're
Absolutely.
doing your whole copy for a house, and then the end, like your end,
Down
like
payment
call
assistance qualifies.
want or like, "Hey, want down payment assistance, or do you need down payment assistance to buy this house?" Like, that could be your call to action, for
If many
sure.
people are searching for this information, be the provider of it. So talk about it on your website. At the very least, write a couple blogs about it so that your website will get some of that SEO and rank higher as people continue to search about this in a time where they may want to buy a house, but they don't know how to get there. There was
Right.
just yesterday, Nicole, on BAM YouTube, and go to YouTube and search for this over ask episode that came out yesterday. This is a great podcast that Eric and Matt did on over ask. So I'll give you the exact title so you can search it out on YouTube specifically. The YouTube agent you never heard of, Javier Vadana. Okay, so Javier's an old school YouTube guy. He's got 140K on YouTube. He shares some of his secrets on this podcast, but he talks about his YouTube channel in the beginning when it took off. Okay, so one of the videos he put out, Nicole,
Yep.
was the real cost of buying a home. Okay, so that video took off for him. A lot of consumers were searching for this, and he went through and actually identified these are the real costs. You may see
Mhm.
advertisements about down payment assistance and all this stuff.
Right.
This is what, whether you get down payment assistance or not, this is what it really costs to buy a home. And he just laid it out
Yeah.
simply, beautifully, easy to understand for others. Okay. And you want to do the same thing. I mean, listen, they're going to keep going to Zillow, but unless you put out this information about here are the real costs, here are the down payment assistance available in our state, that people are going to go seek that information out somewhere else. And they're going to have the conversation with somebody else,
Right.
not you, if you don't decide to know it and put it out there. Definitely go check out that pod because I think there's a ton of value in that
Well,
one.
and I feel like I bring up this book a lot, and I always butcher it.
They
They
ask you
asked,
answer. I know where you're
yeah.
going.
I mean, it's I mean, but again, this pool company said that no one has ever told anybody the price of a pool, and that's all they started doing was
Oh,
telling
it's
the
always, we'll come
consumer
give you a quote.
the cost of the pool. Like, here's what it costs. And at the end of the day, that's really what everybody wants. I mean, we were just talking about Christmas shopping before, and right now we're
You were,
ordering
I
everything
was.
on Amazon, and we're ordering whatever can come on time. But again, they're giving you the cost. Like, the cost, like you want it or you don't. So I do think that, not only is it important, I think not many people are doing it. So it's certainly a way, like you said, to get the information out, because if it's not going to be from you, they are going to be Googling and finding maybe the one or two people that maybe are. Yeah.
100%. All right. So I would say that is not what Zillow's doing, is not a racket. They're proving it
No.
that people are searching it and it's working, and you should do the same. Left, middle, right, Nicole, the headlines of politics, real estate, entrepreneurs, and agents
Yep.
need to know right now. What are they?
So we're hitting up the Wall Street Journal today. Casino mogul Steve Wynn is betting on the luxury market as he unloads 300 million in personal real estate.
This is a funny headline because they're saying he's betting on the luxury market as he
But then he
lists
unloads.
$300 million in property. I think he's bet Wall Street Journal. I think he's betting against
Right?
the real estate market, and he's trying to get. I think what Steve Wynn's saying is, I see a downside of the mountain here. We're close enough to the top, and I want to unload all my properties as close to the peak as possible because I don't know what the next 3 years look like. So he's listing properties in Sun Valley. He's got 2 adjacent properties there, 27 million. Palm Beach, 78.5 million. New York City penthouse, 90 million. In addition, a 100 million Beverly Hills, California estate. He just sold a Las Vegas home for 17.5 million. Dude's got some real estate. We got a gambling problem in our country. You think? Steve Wynn's raking in some cash. Listen, you see it every single time there's about to be an economic collapse. You see the really wealthy making moves. The dude's got a lot of money, Steve Wynn. He's 80 years old. He's been through these times once or twice before. Okay? He's sitting on an empire for a reason. And when you see dudes like this, when you see people that got this much dough making moves now, it's an indicator of what's to come. So my belief is he's making a bet against the luxury market. He believes this time next year there'll be less luxury buyers at these. This is the ultra luxury, less buyers at these price point, and that's why he's listing $300 million. And we should be aware of that. Okay, we should understand what's coming and put ourselves in position to hedge against that. And the second headline relates to this on the complete other end of the spectrum.
Dollar stores lead a surge in new retail openings.
Okay, so dollar stores, Dollar General Corp and Dollar Tree Incorporated are the 2 biggest, Nicole. This year alone, they will have opened 1,300 new stores. Okay, so they're seeking out underserved rural areas where there's maybe not a Whole Foods or maybe not even a Walmart supercenter in that rural area, or there's not a big Amazon shipping and it might take a little longer to get they're seeking these areas where there's less shopping, less resources available, and they're serving those areas with lower cost goods in a time of high inflation, in a time where the economy is going through some struggles. Dollar General Corp, for example, in 2001, Nicole, had 5,000 stores. They now have 18,000. Here's the big one. If you're an agent who serves in a underserved rural area and you've got clients that have land with high traffic counts, you need to say to them, here's an opportunity. Send them this Wall Street Journal article about the dollar stores. Here's an opportunity. Let me market this to dollar stores. I have a client, Nicole, years ago who got one of these deals. He had a piece of land, high traffic count for a rural area, a very rural area, but with a good traffic count for that area. He got a 20-year lease from Dollar General, 20-year lease. They built the building. They put the Dollar General on his land, 20-year land lease. So now you have an asset that's been built on your land. Okay. They're not going to take the building with them in 20 years, by the way.
No.
If they walk away, they're just going to leave the building. 20-year great lease. Guess what? Local banks love this 20-year lease. He's refied the property 3 or 4 times. Every time he needs cash for business, whatever he needs cash for, refis out of the deal because he's got this land lease, which it's like a golden ticket with banks. So you could go to some of these landowners in your community, whether they're clients or not, create a relationship with them, tell them about the opportunity. It's ripe for the picking. I think that 2023, we're just going to see more of a need for low cost goods for economies like this, rural areas that don't have a lot of industry. And you could be somebody that goes and does the back end work and tries to attract one of these Dollar Generals into your area. And listen, you put your commission on a 20-year lease if they let you. I don't think, if I'm a smart landowner, by the way, I ain't letting you get commission for 20 years. But if maybe you get 5 years on the deal, or maybe you get a big lump sum, it's going to be, at the end of the day, the people you're working with and be like, wow, this person, she's smart, man. She's out there creating a new angle for me. And so this is a real opportunity. I would jump on this if you're in one of those rural areas. Nicole, you said you needed some gifts still. Maybe hit up a dollar store today.
There it is. Well, I will hit up a dollar store. I always go to the dollar store. They're perfect for stocking stuffers. Yeah. And then I also do I do that the saran wrap ball. Have you ever done the saran wrap ball?
I've seen you do it.
Yeah, I've done it with the mittens, and you try to unwrap it, and I fill it with all sorts of goodies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're a fun time.
That's a great time. All right. I don't think we're going to, the holidays this weekend. So we're going to get to the holidays this weekend. We'll be back with you guys next week.
Happy holiday. Happy Hanukkah.
If you missed
Christmas.
If you missed last week's Real Word, hit that video. Zillow just changed listing photos forever. A lot of discussion around that. If you missed that one, you definitely want to check out last week's Real Word. Nicole, happy holiday to you. I'm going to talk to you, I'm sure, before. Mm-hmm. Everybody listening, happy holidays. Hit that thumbs up if you've enjoyed this one. And Nicole and I will see you back here next week.
See you guys.
Keep it real.